Homeowners will be facing a $32,000 lawsuit from Pierce County, where Tacoma is, over homeless camps on their properties. The city, which allows homelessness just to proliferate rampant everywhere, is going to say, no, it's on private property, and we're probably going to have to sue you unless you clean that up. That's literally what we've got going on in Tacoma, Washington. Let's get into it. Here we go. Let's watch just a little bit of video. What do you say?
This is a homeless encampment that's right next to East Tacoma's Golden Oaks development.
It's dangerous.
They have generators.
We hear
Lights,
gunshots, not sure what's going on there.
Diana Cucaruza grew up here.
It's garbage and sewer.
There's everything.
Tents and everything.
Army vet Melvin Broom says his retirement home is now a battlefield.
And see, if we go back there, like I just tell my brother, if we go back there, I'm pretty sure somebody gonna want to go at it, you know. It's gonna be combat or something.
Now, after surviving the crime and filth, the homeowners of Golden Oaks are being sued by Pierce County because it wants $32,000 to clean the mess up. The problem? The county says the 22 homeowners own the land where the encampment is.
I was the first house on the corner.
Percy Williams says he's lived here since 2003.
We was never told that at all.
And they never said you had any interest in it at all?
None. None whatsoever. I never knew that we even owned that property.
Here's what happened. When Golden Oaks was built, the developers wrote language in the covenants to start a homeowners association. And according to attorney Bryce Dilley, that never happened.
And that's the problem with not having an association, is the county can't go after the association, but they have to go after the homeowners themselves.
Dilley represents the company that originally bought the lots and sold them to the developer. And while that business is long gone, the homeowners are still all in.
I tried to get someone to get them people to move, and they told me it belonged to a private company. So there was nothing that they could do when I called the police, and that's nothing we can do.
I called the Pierce County prosecutor, who sent me to a spokesperson who says, while the county intends to clean up the property through the abatement process if the nuisance persists, the owners can proactively clean up the parcel. It is, after all, their property.
Shouldn't the city step in? Shouldn't the city step in and just clean up homelessness? Isn't that what we pay taxes for? Pierce County is suing Golden Oak homeowners for $32,000 as they struggle to clean up homeless encampments on the shaded parts of their property. The group of trees that runs across the backyard of neighbors' houses has recently become a sanctuary for the homeless who have set up plywood and tent structures in the small part of forest. But Percy Williams, who lives on the property, says that he never knew that the property was their responsibility in the first place. They never told us about this at all, said Williams. I never knew that we owned that property. It's my understanding that part of this is wetlands and part of this is storm drain. It's a reservoir. So it's a couple of things that are critical to the development, but because a homeowners association was never set up, the city is looking at the individual, however many there are in the development, and they're going to go after each individual one. And they're going to say, you guys are responsible for this property. It's private property. Now, when the vet said that, I was told that this was owned by a, private company, I think what he meant to say was a private individual. And that would be correct because collectively, all of the owners of this development own this. This should be within a homeowners association, but so many times the homeowners associations do not get set up, correctly, or they just don't get set up at all because nobody wants to be the president. Nobody wants to be that guy. They don't want to have to charge dues. They just kind of handle it. They take care of it until something like this comes up. And then you're basically hosed because now it's not an HOA deal. It's an individual issue that all of the homeowners have to address. Usually the homeowners association would be to blame. However, since no organization exists for this particular residential area, 22 homeowners are now the target of the lawsuit. Imagine getting that. that paperwork. You can imagine getting served, you sitting down at dinner with your family. Somebody comes to the door. Are you Mr. Are you Mrs. Yeah, here you go. You're served. Enjoy. Have a nice dinner. And that's the problem. Not having an association is the county can't go after the association, but they have to go after the homeowners themselves, said attorney Bryce Dilley, who is representing the company that originally built the lots and sold them to the developer. I am surprised that guy went on record, but he's probably long retired and doesn't care because the company he was representing is, those homes don't look like they're brand new, right? And development would have take place way before the actual homes are built. So this development's been up and done. You saw the size of those trees. This development's been, it's been there for a long time. This is not a new thing. But now that the homeless have moved in, the city is going to say, oh, we need you to clean that up. And you're like, how about you clean it up? You're the one that has all the homelessness tools, right? I mean, why did they came in and illegally camped on our property? It's not like anybody's letting them, do that. But this is how bad things have gotten, that even when it's in an area that is, storm runoff or wetland, how about these folks are living on wetland areas? It's like we see this all the time near rivers because they've got a source of water, right? I mean, it's just terrible for the environment because they don't pick up after themselves and they're just terrible about garbage and they got all kinds of needles and, you've got the human waste issue. You got fecal matter running everywhere. Army vet Melvin Brown has been living on that block for years and says his retirement home is now a battlefield. I tried to get someone to get them people to move and they told me it belonged to a private company. And I think he meant private parties, right? So there was nothing that they could do when I called the police and there's nothing we can do, said Broom, because it's on private property. It's not on city property. They can only call the people that own the property and say, hey, need you to do something here. Or what are your plans to do here? What's the deal? And you come to find out through the chain of title. Oh yeah. Okay. All you guys in this development, you all own this. Unfortunately, you're all going to need to be involved in however this lawsuit is going to get taken care of, right? Garbage and sewer, and that's everything, he added. When we called the Pierce County prosecutor handling the case, the spokesperson said that while the county intends to clean up the property through the abatement process, if the nuisance persists, the owners can proactively clean up the parcel. It is, after all, their property. You ever seen a sweep happen of a homeless encampment? It is not without drama, right? I mean, these people are crazy. They're whacked out on drugs. They're selling who knows what in there. They got a bunch of trees around them. Who knows what they've got in there? You just don't know. Gunshots, yeah. Prostitution, absolutely. Stolen goods, all kinds of illegal drugs, yeah, you bet. Guns galore. I mean, explosives, who knows, right? Any of those things could be possible. So it's not a matter of just going in and cleaning something up. It's a going in and sweeping out these individuals. And a city like Tacoma, just like Seattle, has basically been so complacent and, we love our fellow human beings so much that we're just going to allow them to camp wherever. That kind of policy is what gets us where we are right now. And that's why these homeowners are kind of going down that road of, oh, yeah, this isn't good. This is not good. We're going to have to pay how much? We're going to have to be involved in a lawsuit because homeless people are trespassing on our property and they're just basically making an absolute mess. And now the city says they're going to sue. Yeah, that's exactly what you've got going on, right? The county says it would also place a lien on each home, meaning their property taxes could go up. Well, I don't see that happening. I see these folks eventually getting the homeless encampment out of there. But can you imagine just one day going, oh, that's our property. Oh, man, we've got an issue. Yeah, they do. And it's theirs now, right? They own it. They literally own it. Like many of the Golden Oak homeowners, Diana is frustrated. All these people who are actually paying for our homes, like paying our bills, we have to deal with things like this. And then we're getting sued on top of that, she said. It's ridiculous. Even if it's clean, they come back. Therein lies one of the real rubs, is even if they go through the massive effort of getting these people pushed off the land and cleaned up, there's nothing to say that the next day or the same day, these folks won't come right back and do the same thing. Because that's literally what we talk about with the whole whack-a-mole thing. You know, here in Seattle and anywhere else that has homeless encampments where they do the sweep, people move a block down the road, then they come right back the minute there's essentially even less authority than there was before. So even if the residents pay for the cleanup and secure the property, the county says it could take the homeowners back to court if the encampment happens to return in the future. I mean, this just does not look good for the city of Tacoma, does it? I mean, going after its own citizens, and they're going to figure it out. They'll figure it out one way or the other. But how many other areas are there out there like this that don't have, that don't have an official homeowners association, but are areas where homeless would definitely hang out because it's, you know, it's greenbelt area. It's usually grown up. You've got some kind of fencing around it, something along those lines. It's kind of off to the side or it's on the back end of development. That's where they usually put the storm sewer, you know, whatever kind of system they're going to put in. It's usually, you know, think of it as a pond, a seasonal pond. It's something along those lines, but you know, it's for stormwater. It's that pond in the middle of the winter that the ducks go down to, that in summer is just kind of green grass, right? So the residents of Golden Oaks find themselves in a catch-22. Pay to clean and secure this mess or lawyer up, or pay to clean and secure this mess, but we still might sue you later. Then you'll need to lawyer up again. That's literally what we're talking about here with the city of Tacoma, right? City of Tacoma is saying, hey, it's your property. You can clean it up. You feel free to clean it up. I think most folks do not want to deal with the homeless because the homeless are today's homeless. It's not just people down on their lucks, right? That are this close to getting back on their feet. It's not like that. These people choose to live in the environments that they do. They choose to do the drugs that they do, and they choose to have a lifestyle of crime. Oftentimes, not all the time, but the vast majority of times, these folks choose to live in an encampment. They choose to live because they want to keep doing the drugs that they're doing. Period. That's just how this rolls. So to tell a group of 22 homeowners, hey, you guys got to clean this up, and now you're responsible for it, because otherwise, even if you do clean it up and they come back, we might come after you. I find that so crazy on the end of the city. I mean, you can go through literally just to the north of the Tacoma Dome, you know, the T-Dome, the Tacoma Dome, where AC/DC, a fan going to an AC/DC show shortly after it was constructed, shot a flare up into the ceiling of the Tacoma Dome during For Those About to Rock, We Salute You. I mean, if that doesn't say history, I don't know what does. Just to the north of the Tacoma Dome, because I was there for an Iron Maiden show. I think it was about a year ago. November of 2022 is what it was. Pretty sure. And there's homeless, there's RVs lining the streets right to the north of the T-Dome. I mean, it's like, ooh, my friend Mike and I, we got off the main freeway and kind of doing a backdoor route to get to where our parking garage is that we know. Because you want to park in a parking garage in this area of town. You just do. Because, you know, you got this stuff going on. But we literally turned a corner and it was like, wow, this is a lot of RVs. And it was just, you know, broken down, lining the sidewalks, that whole kind of thing. So when the city allows that to just basically happen and yet goes after homeowners who live in what looks like to be a fairly nice little development, and they're saying, you know, I don't care if you don't want to help them out, clean it. All right. So you've gone down that route, but then to sue based on, you know, you guys aren't cleaning that up. And even if you do get it cleaned up, we could sue you after if this comes back. Yeah, it feels a little bit heavy handed. So I'm going to guess somebody at the city got just a little bit aggressive with their with their legal paperwork, with their legalese. You want to bet that they back off? I mean, this does not look good. I mean, the optics on this they're horrible. And if this is happening down in Tacoma, that's terrible. That's terrible. Because it's not like these people are sitting around going, well, somebody should clean it up. It's not going to be us. They're more like, oh my gosh, can't believe this is our property. We had no idea. And a lot of people don't know that property like this is theirs. Over the course of my career as a real estate appraiser, there's a box on the appraisal form that you have to check if there is a homeowners association, and if so, are there homeowners dues? And then later in my career, you had to go through this little checklist of stuff. If it's an attached single family home in an HOA, you went down a little different route of questions than you did of if it was detached, regular single family home in a PUD type development with some common areas. So I would have to often ask, and people would always say, oh yeah, we've got that area, but we didn't want to pay for the insurance on that area. We didn't want to pay to keep an HOA together. We just didn't want to do any of that. I think we were supposed to at the beginning, but if something happens, we'll deal with it when we deal with it. Guaranteed. That's exactly what happened to these folks in Tacoma. The HOA just never got off the ground. Yeah, there's supposed to be one, but I've lived here for 23 straight years and I've never seen anything. And I know the guy that would know, and he's right down there, and he's been here longer than I have. And he had his house built from plans, and he just moved right in the day it was done. And so oftentimes you'll hear the story of, no, there's no HOA. There's no homeowners association. People don't want to screw with those if they don't have to. If they can take the shortcut, not have to pay dues, not have to, for some silly little strip of land or whatever it is. Because oftentimes the HOA is just oftentimes it's a park or a little area, or it's a greenbelt area. Maybe it's a strip of land for the mailboxes out front, something like that, something without much to it. But it sounds like this development has, probably a fair amount of little territory there. If you've got enough people that have camped out there where it's a problem, and where the garbage is a problem, and the hypodermic needles are a problem, and, now it sounds like it's, the gunshots are a problem. Don't know what's going on. The former vet said, yeah, if I go down there, I feel like we're going to get into it. I feel like we're going to bang some heads. You kind of see that guy was like, I don't know. Yeah, maybe we'll get into it. Yeah, that's kind of what that's where he was going, right? Nobody wants to get into it with a bunch of homeless people who trespass illegally. And then you got to pay out a bunch of money because those jokesters won't leave. I mean, to me, it's one of those issues where, hey, you're illegally trespassing. You call up the cops, they come out and they say, boom, you're out of here. You're done. That's how it should be, but it's just not. Oh, this is private property. We can't tell you to leave, even though you've got all the homeowners saying, get them out of here. Get them out of here. But the system doesn't work like that, does it? It's not even close to that. I mean, when you've got land that's owned by Washington State Department of Transportation or Oregon Department of Transportation, it is incredible how many entities get involved before a sweep on an incredibly dangerous homeowners encampment can take place. I mean, here in Seattle, our mayor has to do some kind of special order. Like when a bomb goes off on the side of the freeway, wedged in between I-5, the freeway, and Harborview Regional Medical Center, if anybody in the Pacific Northwest gets injured, they go to Harborview, right? That's just how it goes. You'll read that in the news stories all the time. But a drug dealer got booted out of a homeless encampment in between these two entities, the freeway and Harborview. He tried to blow up a fentanyl tent where people were smoking fentanyl. Pay your money, come in, smoke fentanyl, get high and leave. Well, drug dealer that got bumped from this area, he tried to explode a bomb and blow up the people in the tent. The mayor was able to get an emergency proclamation or something. But without that, they can't really do a sweep. And then all of a sudden, that's what it takes is emergency proclamation, something like that. Because otherwise you got to go through Department of Transportation, King County, if it's on King County land, you've got to go through all of these entities. You got to go through the King County Regional Housing Authority. You got to go through all these entities, and then you got to have enough housing, even though none of these people will go to said housing if they're offered, because they want to keep doing drugs, plain and simple. They want to keep doing their lifestyle. To me, it's an issue where you should be able to call the cops. They come out, boom, done, move on. But here in the Pacific Northwest, that is not how it's handled. Cops are very back off because they don't want to get in trouble for sweeping somebody out. They can't even really do the sweeps. They come in and they provide assistance as need be on some of these sweeps. And oftentimes it's to support the city workers, the county workers, the state workers as they do their job to keep them protected from the lunatics that are the homeless advocates. And those people are dangerous. They're mental. Oftentimes I think they're mentally ill. Folks that advocate for the homeless, because you're like, okay, you're claiming that that's somebody's personal property and it's just a pile of garbage. And you get all this kind of stuff. And then the whole harm reduction, which means, we're just going to let people do all the drugs they want because, free will, you got to make your own choices. Yeah, that's great until, your kid makes the choice and then he dies from an overdose, right? I mean, free will is great and all, but we're going down the wrong road there, with the drugs that we have into today's society, which is basically fentanyl lacing everything, and probability that even if you take something other than fentanyl, your life could end. And that is happening to so many people right now. It's crazy. My oldest son, Kiernan, he just had a friend of his that played on one of his baseball teams. He did something other than fentanyl, but he went into a coma, and it's been a couple of weeks, and he just died the other day. And because whatever drugs he was doing was laced with fentanyl. And so that's a 30-year-old kid. I think he was 30 years old, not doing fentanyl, but laced with something else. And his life has ended. My son had communicated with him not long ago. They play video games. You got the headset on, you chat with people and you're gaming. So he had talked with that guy. And just recently, he was just talking to him maybe a couple of weeks ago. And now that kid is dead. So, this kind of stuff is happening all over. Cops can't really do much. City is reluctant to do anything. Gets left up to homeowners, and then the city jumps in and says, we're going to sue you. Would you like to live in that development? Get that phone call, get that email, get that piece of paper, get that notice. Oh yeah, we're going to need to see you in court, you and your attorneys in court. So now this development, Golden Oaks, think they might be having some meetings. Now are they going to set up an HOA? Too late now. I mean, too late now. The water is already under the bridge. The damage is done, right? So they're going to have to band together and, pay for an attorney and probably return fire. And what an absolute disaster, because some homeless people have been given such free reign that they can just move wherever they want. Nobody's going to throw them off. And the homeowners are the ones left holding the bag. And then they're told by the city, yeah, and we still might sue you down the road if you don't keep it clean. We could. $32,000. And we'd love to have your money. Thanks for choosing Tacoma as the place where you reside. Yeah, that's the way I see it. So if there's moving down the road, I'll keep you posted on what you got going on right here. But this one, that's not good. A lawsuit. Yeah. For homeless people living illegally. No, sweep them out, move on, sweep them out, move on. That's kind of my thought, but that's not what we're doing in 2023. Instead, we got all these other processes, and that's why things aren't working. That's why homelessness has just exploded to the point that it has. All right. That's it for me. Thanks so much for being here. I will catch up with you on the next one. Bye for now.